although they may be called to it, they're having a hard time because they haven't pressed into the fullness of what God has stored for them in the place of prayer. You can choose to function off of fumes, or you can find God and be powered by endless life. There are so many Christians, they're functioning off of fumes. They have not dug the well where oil until they hit oil and their source of energy is released. I'm telling you, you can begin to pray. Gifts will be given unto you. And sometimes you begin to pray and you'll enter into different stages and realms of deliverance and breakthrough. We began to pray these nights, and people came to me and they said, man of God, I've been praying for this thing for many years, but when we began to pray consistently, and when we began to pray daily, and when we began to pray concerning things of the kingdom of God, it seemed as though God heard my prayers. Because it's a reward that is given unto you. There are some things that may be troubling you. There are some things that may be oppressing you. There are some things that may have a hold on you, and you know it's devilish. You know it's demonic. If only you can begin to pray, you'll find yourself beginning to walk in a new realm and a new level of spiritual victory and spiritual authority. It's a reward. And sometimes in dealing with the reward, sometimes what comes is finances, where you don't pray for finances, but it'll just begin to come. I tell you this, I've never lacked since I've committed myself to the ministry of prayer. I haven't had to beg or act or manipulate people into giving, but the Lord has met all of my needs. I remember the day we were praying. I remember the month where my income increased substantially. Are you following me? And that's what happens as you begin to go on that journey of prayer with God. You can begin to look and say, okay, it was at this year that I was praying, and the prophetic dimension began to open up to me, and I began to see dreams and visions and have encounters. And as you journey even further in prayer, you say, okay, it was this time, it was this month that revelation entered into my heart, and I no longer struggled to understand what was written in the Word. I no longer struggled to understand what was in the Bible. And as you continue to journey in prayer, you'll say, I remember it was in this month of prayer, this year of prayer, that God gave me a word for my family. And although my sons and daughters were troubling me, he said, fear not, because he has a call upon their lives, and they will not die in perdition. And so I receive a reward, a covenant with the Lord, that as long as I walk with him, my family shall be preserved. And then you continue to journey with the Lord, and as you journeyed with the Lord, every area of your life was drawn into that land, into that realm of prayer. It was drawn. And so you have covenant after covenant after covenant. It's like Abraham, who had altar after altar. After every visitation of God, he built an altar. He says, this is God who met me at this place. When I was in need for this, he met me here, and I raised an altar up unto him. Oh my God, there's so much you can press into in the place of prayer. The problem is we have not been pursuing God really. We've been pursuing things, and so when we get the things, our journey stops. But when you pursue God, you can never get to the end of him. And so as you're pursuing him, many things come. It's like as I'm walking here, if my destination is that wall, I'm walking, I'll pass this, I'm walking, I pass the speaker, I'm walking, I pass the keyboard. But if all I wanted was this podium, I'll walk to the podium and I'll miss out on everything else that is ahead of me, everything else that God has for me, everything else that God has willed for my life, everything else that God has said I can tap into. I'll miss out on it because my perspective is short-sighted. You can pray until something is placed upon you.